Hi, this is Mary Eve with Purdue Extension Office in Harrison County. And today we are starting a series on cooking for our mini 4-Hers. But this is also a good class that older 4-Hers can take, those who are just now experimenting in the kitchen. So this is a kids cooking camp, and we are going to travel the world through food and fun. And we are starting in Indiana in the United States. And our first cooking class will be in France, where we will make quiche. Then we travel back down to Mexico for beef enchiladas, on to Great Britain for shepherd's pie, way over to Japan for chicken teriyaki, and we will end our trip in Italy with lasagna roll-ups. Okay, so let's get cooking. Okay, so we are going to France today. And this is a map of France. France is located in Europe. And as you can see, it is surrounded by many different countries over here. We have Belgium, Germany, Switzerland, let's see, Italy, and we will be there later this week. And then off to the side down here, we have Spain. The capital of France is Paris. And this is the flag for France, and it is red, white, and blue, same colors as our American flag. So, bonjour mes amis, welcome my friends. Today we are making a ham and cheese quiche, and I have everything organized, and when you have everything organized while you're cooking, it's called mise en place, which means everything in its place, and it's also a French term. So, for our ham and cheese quiche today, we of course have ham. This is already pre-diced when I purchased it, but you can use any kind of ham that you have at home. And then we have two different types of cheeses. I have a provolone, and this is just cut slices, and this is a sharp cheddar. What is so cool about quiche is you can mix up a lot of stuff. Instead of ham, you can have bacon or sausage. Just be sure to pre-cook it before you put it into your pie pastry dish here. Cheeses, any kind of cheeses that you like. Even if you just have bologna and American cheese at home, that will work in quiche. Main ingredients in quiche are eggs and either half and half milk or cream. And today I'm using an onion as a vegetable. You could also add fresh spinach or say sliced asparagus would be very good too. Very few seasonings in a quiche because it gets its flavor from the main ingredients. Just salt and pepper, and I use a little cayenne pepper for just a little bit of a kick. Our pastry shell is a deep pastry shell because we have a lot of ingredients going in here. And to start off with, I have my oven at 375 degrees. I'm going to pop this shell in the oven for 10 minutes. But we have a few things we have to saute before we can put the whole thing together. So meet me over at the stove. Okay, we're going to set our heat at a medium to medium high. And we need 1 tablespoon of butter. And while that is melting, I'm going to dice half an onion. So I take off the root and stem parts. Slice the onion in half. Take off the outer covering. And we're going to dice this into small pieces. Now everybody gets their own way of how to dice an onion. This way works for me. So I make like little sunshines there. And then just small diced pieces. And when I get down to an end where it's close to my fingers, I flip the onion with the blade and just continue to slice, making sure my fingers are all out of the way. So let's pop this into our pan. And the reason we cook the onions before is so that they are well cooked within the quiche, and then also by cooking it and browning it a bit, it releases some of the sugars and makes the onion a little sweeter and not so harsh tasting. So along with the onions, we're going to saute our ham. And mix these together. Then while these are sauteing, I can go ahead and put together the ingredients for the quiche. Make sure that you keep an eye on this so that you don't burn your ham and your onions. Okay, we'll meet you back at the work table. Back at our work table, and I have taken my pie crust out of the oven. I pre-baked it for 10 minutes because of everything that we're putting in here is quite moist, and I don't want it soaking through into the uncooked pie crust. So this is partially cooked, just 10 minutes. We're going to set this aside and let that cool for just a bit while we do the rest of the ingredients. So we have our half and half, 4 eggs, our cheeses, and our spices. We're going to use 1 cup of half and half. And when you're measuring liquids, make sure that your eye level is even with the level of where you're measuring. So there we are, 1 cup, 8 ounces. Now you notice I'm using a large measuring cup rather than a mixing bowl. This is so that I can easily pour the mixture into the pie crust. So you don't want any of the mixture on the outer part of the pie crust. So I have 4 eggs, and I'm going to crack one at a time to make sure that all my eggs look fresh before putting them into the bowl. Now if you happen to get an eggshell into your cracked egg bowl here, don't try picking it out with your fingers because the eggshell will avoid your fingers. Instead, take your egg shell and just scoop it out and it will come right out for you. Good. Forgot to put that one in the bowl. So there we go. I'm going to step away for just a second so I can stir my ham and onions. I'll be right back. We're going to get those stirred up. Before we add the cream for the half and half. That doesn't take much time. We're going to add our half and half. Kind of stir as we go. And I'm going to use a whisk to get that all incorporated. And by using a whisk, I'm also beating some air into the eggs. And this will make your quiche kind of fluffy and smooth and not dense. Okay, we're going to add some salt and pepper and start with about 1/4 of a teaspoon. And just going to measure a little bit in my hand. And you'll notice most people, after they have been cooking for a while, will tend to use their hand because they have used it so often. And the reason for also these small amounts is that everybody has their own level of salt that they enjoy. And I myself am not a salt person, but my husband is, and he tends to salt everything that I cook. But to me, I cook it to my taste, and he can always add salt. You can't take away salt once you put it in here. So we have all that nice spices and everything incorporated. You can see it's nice and smooth. Has some nice air bubbles going on there. And we're going to set this aside just a second and start to assemble our quiche. So I have my sauteed onions and ham, and you can see there's a nice browning around the edges, so the onions are well cooked, a little bit caramelized. I'm going to put that in the bottom of our pie crust. And level it out, but don't pack it down, because we want our egg mixture to be able to flow through all of that. And we have our cheddar cheese. And just evenly distribute it, don't pack it down. And our provolone cheese. And like I said, you can experiment with different meats and different cheeses. Just make sure that all the meats are thoroughly cooked. If you're doing something like spinach, a leaf vegetable, or kale, do not pre-cook those, because that will make them kind of mushy inside of your quiche rather than a nice bright green color. So here we have all of our ingredients. And you can see that's a pretty packed pie shell. So give this another quick stir. And slowly pour that in to the pie shell, making sure that you cover all parts of your cheese and ham. If you pour it in too quickly, it may not get way down to the bottom. So we want to make sure that we have everything well covered and incorporated. Getting kind of full. I don't want to fill it too much because I don't want to burn my crust with the egg mixture. You want to always put the quiche on a rack in case anything spills out. And we're going to put this in that 375-degree oven. This is going to take about 35 to 40 minutes to cook. What we're looking for is a nice golden brownish color around the edges, but still a little bit of jiggle in the center. So you make sure that we've got all of our cheese covered. And we'll pop this in the oven and we'll be back in a little more than half an hour. Okay, while our quiche is cooking, if we're going to be serving our quiche for breakfast, we want a little bit of a side dish to go with that. So I'm going to make a quick citrus yogurt parfait. I'm using a lemon yogurt, just some orange sections, and I didn't have any boxes of granola at home, but I did have a nice granola bar here. So it's going to take the place of just a boxed granola. So I'm going to take my yogurt. The yogurt is a bit runny this morning. We'll just put that in there. Really runny yogurt. And then you want to put a layer of fruit. A layer of your granola. And you can just break this up, put that on top. More yogurt. Fruit. And I did take most of the juice out of this before we started filming here, so it's not too juicy. And another batch of the granola on top. So that makes a quick and easy side dish, and most people would have some of these ingredients at home. You can try other fruits, other flavors of yogurt, whatever suits your taste. Now, I have to get the kitchen clean before the quiche is done. We'll see you soon. Okay, and we are back. Our quiche is done, and you can see it's a nice golden brown color around the edges. Still a little light in the center. Do not cut this right away, because since you left the center a little bit jiggly, if you cut into it right away, it would be like soup in the center. So I gave it a good 10 to 15 minutes. It is still very warm. All the ingredients inside keep it that way, but doesn't that look wonderful? Since I am serving this at lunch, I went ahead and sauteed some fresh asparagus with just a sprinkle of salt, pepper, and garlic powder. So are you ready? Let's see if we can get this out of the pan the first try. There we go. And isn't that beautiful? You see all the lovely ham and cheese and egg. And we got it out on the first try. It's amazing. And we serve it with just a few spears of asparagus, and it makes just a lovely presentation on the plate. Now let's give it a taste. All that nice gooey cheese in there. It's still pretty darn hot. This is to die for. Smooth, creamy, and full of flavor. Au revoir, mes amis.